Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to another amazing interview. We have had some amazing ladies lined up. We have some more pre-recorded interviews coming up, and we also have some amazing presentations coming up. So definitely make a lookout for that. Also, make sure that you are checking your email every day because I will be sending you guys out the virtual speakers directory, so you guys can check that out. I will be letting you guys know when everyone's presentation is going live, when anyone's interview is streaming live. So definitely make sure that you're constantly checking your email. If you don't get an email from us, check your spam, check your promotion folder because it's definitely going to be in those two places. And if it's still not there, just email us at campbellsuccessteam@gmail.com and we will definitely help you out. But I have an amazing guest on today, right now. She is absolutely phenomenal. She's actually a client of mine. She's been working with me for some time now. So without further ado, here is Kimberly. Hey, girl.
Hello, hello, hello.
How
How
are
are
you
you?
doing? I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
You are welcome. So I know you are new to doing these summits or what have you. So if you could just introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Kimberly Anderson, and I am the CEO and founder of From Kim to All. I believe that every individual person, no matter what your background, deserves to be healthy so that you can live happily and comfortably, so that you can be able to live your best life. And what I do is I help you lose weight and keep it off by teaching you how to create practical routines that will help you stay on track and reach your weight goals permanently. AKA, I'm also known as the #1 routine strategist.
That's right. I always tell you guys, put that #1 right in front because it is everything. So you and I were going back and forth for some time now on what will be your lane. Like you're in the health and wellness industry. It's such a huge industry, and it doesn't mean that the industry is somewhat saturated. What it really means, the health and wellness industry is a $1 billion industry. So there's so much room for anyone who's selling products, anyone who's offering courses, boot camps, challenges, or whatever, right? So when we was talking about like what will be your lane that you would sort of help women get reach their health and wellness goals, and one of the things that you and I spoke about was women, we need to start establishing routines. Now a lot of times we assume that creating routines is the same thing as creating a schedule, which is not so much the same. I mean, it's cool to have both, but what do you feel is the big difference from someone who wants to get healthy creating healthy routines versus saying, oh, um, scheduling out tasks or things to do?
Well, let me start with the difference between a routine and a schedule. The easiest way to do that is to just say the definition for each one and then give
Yes, I think that
examples.
I agree. I agree. Go ahead.
So a routine is a sequence of actions that are regularly followed. It's like a fixed program. It's a usual order or way of doing things. For example, like you take a shower every morning. You do that every morning. That's a routine. You brush your teeth every night and get ready for bed. That's a routine.
Right.
Uh, Getting up at 6 a.m. every morning and exercising, that's a routine. Purchasing a bagel and reading a newspaper or watching the news before you go to work the next morning, that's a routine. And last but not least, another example is eating a bag of chips while you watch Netflix. That's a routine. Or maybe
Yes.
some popcorn. And then that brings me to a schedule. A schedule is it's a plan. It's a plan of carrying out a process or procedures that have to be done at specified time
Right.
intervals, like for example, doctor's appointments, or maybe a football or baseball schedule, or take your college classes, for example, a course schedule, and it's got your start and end times. It's just two completely different things, if I'm making sense
Right.
to
Absolutely.
y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, it does absolutely make sense because there is a slight difference between the two, to where we could be scheduling out things every day. Like for me, it was like going to the gym. It's like, okay, I knew I had to go to gym at this time, and that was my schedule. Or I had a personal trainer on Tuesday and Thursdays, and the rest of the week I would do like we are great at creating scheduling, but when it comes to routines, it's like what you are teaching is that it's through the routines that's going to keep you consistent, because you can get overwhelmed with scheduling. You can get bored of creating scheduling, but with the routine, it's like your brain automatically just forms
Don't
this into
go.
a habit. It forms this into a lifestyle, and that's what Kimberly is teaching you guys. Y'all gonna really love her presentation coming up very soon, but she gets you to make this actually a lifestyle through creating and establishing routines, because you need a routine coach. I mean, I can't attest that enough, that because a lot of us as women, life happens, we get off track. There's different chapters that we go through in life. What y'all probably were going through this year is probably, those of you who are watching, probably different from last year. Let us know down below if there's been a huge difference in your day-to-day from this year to last year, even from 10 years ago to now. But I'm glad that you established the difference so that everyone is clear on what that is and what does it look like to create routines and what does it look like to create just schedules. So my next question for you is, what are some big major mistakes when it comes to us creating routines? Because there are mistakes that we may make, but what are some of those that you have seen with women?
I will start based off of some research that I did, and I used myself as an example, because it's a learning process when you're trying to create a routine, and you're going through it, and it's like an experiment is what it is, because you've got to figure out what's going to work for you. But some common mistakes, I've got 5 of them, some common mistakes that we make. The first one being that the first one being, I want to go in a specific order.
Yes, take your time.
So we don't create time buffers. It's called a time buffer. And what that is creating like extra space in between your tasks. You can't go from one task to the next without having at least a small break in between, because what that'll do is it'll set you up for failure.
Yes.
And I've had to learn that myself. For example, let's say my workout takes 1 hour to complete.
Right.
Well, if I want to make it to the next task early, especially being that I film my workouts, and
Right.
that's time consuming in itself.
Absolutely.
I'm filming my workout in between working out, and so if I add 30 more minutes on, if I take my routine here, my little routine schedule here, and I add 30 extra minutes, so for my morning exercise I put 90 minutes instead of 1 hour, then that's going to allow me enough of time space to get all of that done without having to run into crunch time and failure into getting to the next task.
I love
and
that.
Then that brings me into, because sometimes you do a routine, you're doing a task, and sometimes they take longer than expected. And that brings me into number 2, underestimating how long things take.
Yes.
Underestimating how long things take. If you haven't done something at least 100 times, and you know exactly how long it's going to take, I would recommend you throwing in some conservative estimates here.
Yes.
For example, lost my train of thought for a second.
But conservative estimates, I get that part, because when you mention that to give yourself buffers, that will help you to rejuvenate in between tasks, in between, like you said, in between workouts. Like if you're going from a workout to a cool down, or going from working out into jumping into like maybe studying or things like that, or jumping into momhood, you want to give yourself that little bit of a buffer so you're not going
Time.
into
Mhm.
fatigue and feeling tired faster. Yeah. I love that you
Right.
mentioned that conservative. Let's break that down a little bit. So like conservative is like, okay, if you know something, it takes an hour, but you like, well, I can get that done in 30 minutes. And you're like, come on, let's be realistic
Pretty
here.
much a realistic,
Yes.
realistic estimate of your time.
Hmm.
Because there's also, I failed to mention, there's this thing called context switching.
Yeah.
And what that is it's like a mental residue um that's left in your mental state after
Right.
having gotten the prior task done. And so you need that time buffer in
Right.
between to, rejuvenate, like you said, to get yourself together
Get
before you
yourself
jump
together.
into the
Yes.
next thing.
Right.
And then um I've got three more. uh let's skip the number 4.
Okay.
Morning fluff.
Yes.
Morning fluff, that's when, and it sounds just like it is, fluffy morning routine. That's what I meant to say, fluffy morning
Yes. Fluffy
routine.
morning. Y'all write that in the comments. Fluffy morning routines. I like that.
It sounds just like what it is. It's when you got a bunch crammed in your morning routine, you got too many things crammed in your morning routine.
Right.
And what you need to do is just have, you need to have just enough uh, things set in your morning routine to get you awake in the morning, to wake
Right.
yourself up and to put you in a peak state for starting your day. You
Right.
don't want to
Right.
cram too many things in the morning where it's taking so long to get all that done that it's taking up your entire morning.
Right. Right.
Get what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes. I would have to say definitely there's a lot of things that, and y'all let us know down below that what do you feel takes up a lot of time in the morning. I'm glad that you mentioned that. I'm so glad that you mentioned that, guys. So my next question for you is this: what are the best health routines you can suggest for women right now? Like anyone who's like just getting started, they've never really created routines like that. They sort of had the to-dos but kept dragging on the same thing on to the next day, to the next day. Like, what are some things that you feel that women should get started with?
Okay, I can name a few for y'all. First off, when you're creating the routine, don't try to do too much at one time,
Right.
because people, that's I tried to do that myself. I tried to put too many things at one time, and it'll make you overwhelmed, is what it'll do, until eventually you'll get burnt out and you end up quitting. And we don't want to do that. What we want to do is, start with one thing, or have 2 tasks for a routine each day, or 5 days a week. You get up in the morning, you do the dishes and eat breakfast,
Right.
and you do that for your morning routine for 5 days. And then
Mm-hmm.
come the second week, you add something else onto it. So we
Mm-hmm.
add your workout in.
Yeah.
um so it's like little by little you're taking baby steps so you don't overwhelm yourself. And then number 2, um visualize your day. Like
Yes.
when you wake up in the morning, you're that's when your mind is most clear,
Right.
soon after you wake up. And what you want to do is, for that reason, because your mind is most clear when after you wake up,
Mm-hmm.
you want to take 5 minutes and think about all the things that you want to accomplish
Right.
during that day. Like, you want to think about work, you want to think about who all you need to talk to, you want to think
Mm-hmm.
about how your workout is going to go, and
That's right.
anything else that you have on your to-do list to accomplish. And
That's right.
then this is my favorite one here: water. Health, because we're talking about health, right? Water.
Yes. Yes.
Ladies and men too, if you want to lose weight, drink a
Gotta
lot of
drink a lot
water.
of water.
Drink water before your meals, because it's going to give you a feel full factor.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to eat as much
Yep.
because you're going to be full. Water makes you full. It
That's
it
right.
also It also refreshes you. It puts you in a improved state of mind and mood. Water is good for you.
Absolutely. Even when I'm drinking a lot of water throughout the day, I drink less juice, as well. So you're also not eating as much, but you're also drinking less sugars and things like that. So I love that. So my last question for you, Kimberly, is what is your presentation going to be about?
My presentation is going to be rooted to that basic question. Why do you need a routine? Because
Yes.
my goal here is to get people to understand why they need a routine so that they can get results. They can get results, and especially when we get you on a consistent routine. Um, and I won't skip ahead because there's a lot I could add. But if you're on a consistent routine, you'll be amazed with the results that you would get. Because I mean, and that's just speaking from experience myself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And let me tell you something, we all cannot wait to check out your presentation. What you have to share and contribute is something that's going to be very valuable for everyone who has registered for this event. So thank you once again for joining, for being a part of this summit. It's so happy that you're here. And those of you who are tuning in and watching, make sure you make
Thank
a
you.
look out for Kimberly's presentation. It's going to be explosive. It's going to be amazing. Check your email for when it goes live. And y'all have an amazing day. Bye, guys.